Tiffany, are you still there? I just wanted to say once more how incredibly happy I am for you today. You and my precious Ethan look so stunning today. It truly touched my heart to see you two exchange your vows. I couldn't help but shed a few tears. Actually, more than a few, but I'm overjoyed that you two are finally married.
I know. It was such a wonderful wedding, right? Everything was exactly how I dreamed it would be, It was actually Ethan and I who came up with the whole concept for the event. So that makes me even more glad that you liked the wedding since I put so much effort into planning it.
Wait a minute. What are you trying to say? You mean to tell me that you and Ethan were the ones who designed that whole decoration by yourselves?
Yeah, we wanted to be smart with our money and save where we could, and I already had a clear vision of what I wanted. We were even the ones who set up the decorations ourselves. We tried to do as much as we could on our own to cut down on costs.
But I'm a bit perplexed. I gave you guys $100,000 to spend on the wedding, but you still tried to skimp on expenses?
Yeah, pretty much. Weddings are pricey, right?
But you two came to me when you got engaged and sobbed about how you had no money at all for a wedding. You said you wanted to make it as lavish as possible, and so I offered to give you $100K. But you're still telling me that that money was not enough for the wedding?
Well, I guess things were just a lot more costly than we initially thought. You know how bad the inflation is? So, by the time we got everything that we desired, we were already way over our own budget.
I see, but I suppose you did throw a magnificent wedding. I have to admit that much. Although, if I'm being honest, it didn't feel like a $100,000 wedding. I mean, the food was kind of tasteless and there weren't many choices for drinks. No, something is not right here. I want you to come clean and tell me the truth about your wedding right now.
I told you that we used up all the money already. What does it matter how we spend it? You gave it to us to help us celebrate. And we spend it on ourselves. Isn't that enough? You really can't give someone a gift and then get angry and then when they use it however they please.
Are you joking? It wasn't a gift for you to splurge on whatever you fancied.
Are you really doing this to me right now on my own wedding day? I can't believe that you are seriously trying to spoil my day right now. Here, I thought we were going to be able to get along, but you're just being a jerk. You really need to watch your tone and think about how you speak to me, now that I'm married to your son.
Excuse me? You can't be serious. Are you really upset with me for asking a few questions about what you did with all that money? I mean, I gave you that money for your wedding. I really don't think that you have the right to be mad at me for being a little shocked to find out that you didn't use it for that at all.
Just shut your mouth already, you irritating old witch. If you're going to keep nagging me about this, then I just won't ever talk to you again. I already loathe having to deal with you as it is. Now, if you don't mind, I'm off to enjoy my honeymoon.
So you're really just going to run away from this? I don't buy it. Tiffany, are you there? Answer me!
Hello there, Amina. You know the reason why I didn't respond to your message yesterday? Well, because I feel you're really upset. And I didn't want to keep texting with a crazy woman. Do you get that? Did you finally come down after yesterday?
Are you really talking to me like this? After what you did to me yesterday? I thought you said you never wanted to speak to me again.
Well, I had a good night rest. And now I'm refreshed and ready to face you. Actually, the thing is that there is something that I need to discuss with you. Do you have a moment to talk?
I have a terrible feeling about whatever it is that you're going to say next. So if you don't mind just getting to the point, that would be nice, right?
Well, the thing is that Ethan and I are going to be moving into your house. So, would you kindly move out there by this weekend, please?
Excuse me? Wait a minute. You and my son are going to be moving into my house? And you expect me to move?
Well, yeah. We're married, so the next thing we have to do is find a place to stay and then get a new car too. Ethan and I talk, and we decided that since things are a little rough right now, we could just take your house instead of stressing about finding a new one.
You're just going to take my house? I don't even know how to react to that. And this is supposed to be different from the two of you just coming to live with me.
Live with you? And no, I do not want to be living under the same roof with you at all. The only people who are going to be staying there are going to be Ethan and I. Understand? We don't need or want you there. So, go ahead and pack your stuff and leave.
So, you're really serious about this then? You're being absurd.
Well, I know that your husband passed away a long time ago, so it's not like you can really claim that you need all that space for yourself, right? I'm sure that a house is way too big for just you.
It is true that I have a lot of rooms that I'm not using. But since that's the case, I don't see why you both can't just come and live with me.
Because I already told you that I don't want to live with you. And I'm sure that you don't want to live with me. We just won't get along. So, if we're both in the same house, then one of us will have to go, and since you were probably going to leave the house to Ethan in your will, anyway, you can just do us a favor and give it to us now.
And just who said that Ethan was going to get the house? I never, ever said anything like that to him.
Well, sure, but he's your oldest child. Who else would get the house? His sister Clara move out too. So you don't have anyone else to give the house to anyway. I don't really see what's the issue if we ask to live there a bit sooner.
You two can really only think of yourselves, can't you? You really think you can just kick me out of my house like this? Have you even thought of where I might be able to go if I were to up and move out of here for you two?
No, not really. I haven't given that any thought at all. I don't really care where some old pile of bones like you go is. So, be perfectly honest, maybe you could go and rent some tiny little apartment or something?
And if I go and do that, are you two going to be paying my rent on the place? That's the least you could do if you're getting a whole house out of this.
You really think that we're going to do anything to help you out? Nah, that is not going to happen. You should still have some money that your husband left you when he died. Why don't you use that? Oh, go live with Claire or something like that.
So you're just going to kick me out of my own home and you don't care at all what happens to me next? Why should I move out and give you the house then? This whole conversation is just ludicrous.
You have to move out there. We've already decided we're moving in and we've canceled the lease to our place. We've already started packing our bags and putting things in boxes. So you have to be out of the house by this weekend.
You really expect me to just go along with this? Have you lost your mind?
You will leave the house. If you don't, then we'll have to take matters into our own hands. And you won't like that. Okay, I guess if you really want to live with us in your house, then you can. But you have to pay us rent.
Excuse me. I am going to have to pay you to rent? You really just don't know when to quit, do you?
Well, if you don't want to pay rent, then you can move out of the house. How about that? You were going to leave it to your son anyway, so just leave. I feel like I'm giving you plenty of options here. It isn't my fault if you're going to be unreasonable and turn them all down.
You call those options? Both of those are just terrible. And you didn't consult me about any of this beforehand. Just how much would you be charging me for rent anyways?
I was afraid that you would try to take me up on that. But if you want to keep living in your house with Ethan and me, you'll have to pay us $2,000 a month.
You're going to charge me that much money just to live in my own house.
That's right. If you pay us $2,000 a month, then I'll let you live with us. If you have a problem with that, then you know what your other option is.
I would rather not have to live with you at all if I'm being honest.
So then you're going to move out for us? Great! Just make sure you're out of the house by this weekend. Maybe you could go and ask Clara if you can live with her.
Clara, are you there? I'm really sorry to ask this so suddenly of you, but could I maybe stay with you for a few days? I've been kicked out of my own house.
Wait, what? Hold on a second. Mom, What do you mean by that? What happened?
Well, I got some messages from Tiffany, and she was telling me that she and Ethan couldn't afford to move into a new place, so she said they were taking over my house. She told me that I was going to give the house to Ethan anyways, so I might as well just do it earlier.
And you just handed them the house without a fight? Why would you do that, Mom?
Because I have had just about enough of these two. I just didn't want to deal with them anymore, so I gave them what they wanted. But now I'm working on getting Ethan completely removed from my will.
You're going to cut Ethan out of your will? Are you sure about that, Mom?
That's right. If Ethan wasn't going to stick up for me and put his crazy wife in her place, then I don't need him. Anyways, I know it's last minute, but could I please stay with you for a while? I really never thought that I would be in this position, and yet here I am. I know that your husband is away on a business trip right now, so if I could just stay with you until he gets back, I would really appreciate it.
Mom, of course you can come and stay with us. That's not a problem at all. In fact, I was actually starting to feel a bit lonely without my husband around. I'll talk to him and explain what's happening.
Thank you so much, darling. I feel so bad for dropping it on you so suddenly like this, but I still just have so much I have to deal with on my end.
Of course, Mom. Well, feel free to come here, settle down, and take care of whatever business you need. And if there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. If you're cutting off Ethan, then I think I should too.
Wait, Clara, are you sure about that? He is your brother after all. You don't have to do that just because I am.
I know, but you know that Ethan and I have never gotten along.
Huh? Really?
That's true. He would always act so entitled just because he was older. You know, he even bragged to me about how he was going to inherit the house and would always hold it over me. Honestly, I think he and Tiffany are perfect for each other. I mean that in the worst way. They're both just awful people.
You mean that Tiffany has said mean things to you as well?
That's right. She came up to me after her wedding and told me that she was going to do everything in her power to make sure I would inherit nothing. She said she was going to make it so that Ethan would get everything.
And just who does she think she is to be making these kinds of decisions?
Well, I guess she thinks that because she's married to the eldest child in our family, she does have some rights. I've actually been thinking about cutting those two out of my life for some time now. To be perfectly honest.
I see. Well, if we're both on the same page, that is good news at least. Anyways, I'll pack up my things and head over to your place soon.
Well, hello there, Amina. You know, I must say that I was utterly shocked when I stepped into your house for the first time. I had no clue that you were living in such a dusty and damp place. How on earth do you expect Ethan and I to enjoy our married life in this dump?
Are you seriously whining about the house that you just snatched from me? You two came to me with your sob story about how you were broke and homeless, and you have the audacity to criticize my house?
Oh, please. Don't start throwing a tantrum just because we evicted you. I already told you that you had no choice but to give up this house to us. So why are you acting so surprised and angry? But I guess Ethan and I have a lot of work to do to make this place livable. So by the way, if you could kindly transfer us around $100,000 so that we could start the renovation, that would be wonderful.
What? You really expect me to give you another $100K after what you did to me? You really must be out of your mind.
But this house is so old and decrepit. It needs a complete makeover. Besides, your eldest child is living here. Don't you care about his comfort and happiness with his wife and future kids? Come on, hurry up and cough up the money.
I don't even know how to respond to that. You really have lost your marbles if you think that you can boss me around like this.
I don't want to hear any more complaints or excuses from you. I just want to see more money in my bank account, got it? If you do that, we'll be nice enough to let you come over and see the amazing transformation we've done to the place, okay?
I seriously have nothing to say to you.
Well, how about this? Yes, Tiffany, there are 2 words that you could say to end this whole ordeal. You were never going to give this house to Claire or anyone else. It was always destined to be ours anyway. The least you could do is help us turn it into our dream home.
And you think that I should just happily oblige and give you all the money you demand?
Well, if you don't give me the money, then you can kiss goodbye to ever seeing your son or me again. You'll have no one to rely on but Clara. Do you get that? So, if you want some security for your old age, you'll pay up what we're asking.
I actually don't think I will. In fact, I don't even want to see either of you ever again. So you can forget about getting a single cent from me.
Wait, what? What is this? What are you trying to pull?
I mean, that I wouldn't give you the money even if I wanted to because it's a rental, and you'd be a fool to try and renovate the place.
Wait, what? What do you mean? This is a rental? Are you kidding me?
That's right. But I suppose you two didn't even bother to check that out. You just blindly followed this stupid scheme of yours? Anyways, I'm done with both of you. Good luck with everything.
Oh, wait. Just hold on for a second. What do you mean rental? We are in a house. Have you just been renting this place all along? I thought that this was your family home or something like that, but you've actually just been renting it?
Well, this house has been in our family for generations, but I was renting it from Clara. I had already signed over the deed to her, you see, and I was paying rent to her to let me stay in my own home.
Hold on a second. You mean to tell me that you've already given up your rights to the house? But Ethan and I were completely clueless about that.
Well, I gave the two of you $100K for your lavish wedding, right? That was basically Ethan's entire inheritance. I also wanted to make sure that Clara got something of equal value. So I gave her the house.
Oh wait, the money for the wedding was Ethan's inheritance?
Well, Clara had actually been planning to move to a new place with her husband, but then he was unexpectedly sent on that long business trip. She had been so overwhelmed that she couldn't even spare a moment to look for a new home. I offered her to take my home, and when her husband came back, she could sell the house and use the money for her new one.
No, you've got to be joking. That can't be true.
But you were right about the house being too big for me. I was going to move into a cozy apartment, but Clara said it was fine if I lived with her until her husband returned. Although she warned me that since there were new tenants in her home that she was going to charge rent more strictly. You'll both owe her $1,500 a month.
Wait, what? You mean that she was charging you even less than that? But she can't charge us for rent. We are her brother and sister-in-law.
I'm sorry to say that Clara doesn't care about that at all.
But why? I don't get it.
I heard from Clara about all the nasty things that you said to her. Did you really think that she was just going to let you live there for free after that?
But $1,500 a month is way too much for this place. I mean, the average market rate for houses around here is only $800 a month.
Well, I guess it might be a bit steep, but she does own the house, so she has the authority to set the rules. If you have an issue with it, talk to her.
You can't do this to us. It isn't fair. You have to do something. You're a mom. You can put an end to all of this.
You two really do just think about yourselves, don't you? You're more than happy to offend the people you should be getting along with until you need help. I don't have time for this nonsense.
What do you mean? It isn't nonsense. This is our lives that we're talking about here.
I see. Well, if you don't like it, you can always just pack your bags and leave. You know it's that simple. Or pay rent every month. The choice is yours, LOL.
You old hag. Are you satisfied now? Ethan and I have finally realized that we can possibly afford to live in that house any longer. But since this was all your fault, the least you can do is give us some money to help us find a new place. And you really treated us horribly. You need to make up for all that you've put us through. Please. It would be different if Ethan had a stable job, but he just quit his last one. And he hasn't had any success finding work. We really are struggling financially and we need your money.
So my foolish son quit his job for some reason, and you think that's my problem? I'm sorry, but you two are on your own.
You can't be serious about that. We're pleading with you here.
Well, then you are wasting your time because you are not going to be getting a penny from me. I've already made that very clear. Now, if you don't have anything else to say, I think that this conversation between us is over. Have a nice life. In the end, I heard from a reliable source that Ethan and Tiffany had to move into a tiny and filthy apartment that barely had any space or amenities. They were doing their best to save every penny they had, but it was hardly enough to cover their basic expenses. It was only much later that I learned the shocking truth that they had wasted about half the money I gave them for the wedding on slot machines. If you can believe it, they actually spent so much money that they ended up owing more than they had. Ethan tried frantically to get a hold of Clara to beg her to tell him where I was living, but she pretended like she had no clue and told him she couldn't reach me either. Thanks to my smart and loyal daughter, I can finally enjoy my old age in peaceful and comfortable surroundings.